Micro change. Make change real. The process is beautiful. Empower your mentality to micro change in the world. It's Coach King. Today I'm going to be talking about why most people never change. why don't we change? Okay. Most people want change. They think about it. They talk about it. They do all of the necessary things. They even pray. Like we even sit there and say, "Dear Lord, I want to change." But they don't actually change. We never actually transform into that thing that we're looking for. And it's never long term. It might be like, "Oh, we're making changes," but it's not long term. And it's not in a way that is sustainable. It doesn't last. And if we're honest, you probably feel this type of tension in your life, and we've all probably had that, right? You start something new, a new job, a new ministry, for some people, new families, right? You feel motivated. You're like, yeah, let's do this, right? You gain momentum, like you got the ball rolling. I'm gonna eat right. I'm gonna start working out. I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it this time, right? And then somehow you end up right back where you started. Right, you're back eating the cookies. You're back consuming the television that you said you was gonna stop. And it's the same habits. It's the same pattern. It's the same frustration. So then you're left with this question: why does this keep happening to me? Why do people want to change but struggle to actually sustain it? Biggest loser. People lose 60 pounds, gain 120, right? And the reason is because people are trying to change without understanding the process. And if you don't understand the process, it means you're not standing with the process, right? Understanding, right? You're not standing under the process. You will always repeat this cycle instead of transforming yourself through the process. Okay. So let's anchor this. And you know me, scripture. And the transformational scripture is, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's Romans 12:2. And notice some things that the verse did not say. It does not say be motivated. It does not say try your best. It does not say even try harder. It doesn't say any of that stuff, right? It doesn't say be inspired. It says be transformed. That means exist to transformed. Be the thing that you're trying to accomplish. Because transformation is not behavior modification. We're not talking about your behavior modifying something, tweaking little things. We're talking about renewal. We're talking about renovation, a cracked ceiling that needs repair, right? That means that the real change doesn't happen at a surface level. It starts deep in the inside. And for me, that happens in my mind. I have to make my mind up. The structure, the system, everything that I'm doing, it just teaches me how I'm living. And God is not calling us to try harder. He's calling us to become something new, something different than we once were. We have to put away the old self, right? And walk into this new creation that we have decided to become. And becoming requires this process. So let's talk about the problem. And this is where we all have gone wrong, including myself first, right? I've approached change emotionally. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this so bad. I need it, right? Instead of relying on a structure. I'm relying on TD Jakes. I'm relying on a Pastor Martin or PJ or Ron or Kylan or somebody, right, to give me some motivation externally. I'm sitting there flipping through TikToks. I'm looking, I'm scrolling, I'm watching sermons on YouTube. I'm going to the church service, right? And I'm relying on this motivation and this inspiration and the feelings and the momentum that it brings in my life. but those things don't last. Why? Number one, they can't be my idol and they cannot be my God. Okay. Number two, because they are not designed to sustain what I'm trying to accomplish. It's there to create a spark in my life. Those things are great to create the spark, but they're not going to sustain the transformation that I want. Okay. So why did this happen? And what happens when this happens? We know this. You get inspired, but you don't have the structure. You feel ready to begin. That's called pre-contemplation, right? But you don't have the system in place. You don't have the plan made yet. You get the awareness, but you don't know what to do next. Where am I going with this, right? Oh, I'm aware I need to do something about it, but I don't know where to go, right? And eventually you fall back into what you once knew, because we are creatures of what? Habit. Okay. And most people don't fail because of the desire to change. They fail because the process is terrible. They don't have a process at all. So this is where I created God gave me this. I didn't create this. God gave me this idea sitting on a Wednesday night. It's called the idea cycle. Okay. And if you apply the cycle that's found in the Bible that God gave me, you will really sustain the change that you're trying to accomplish in your life. You will become that person. That transformation happens in your life. I believe this because God gave it to me, right? To give to you, to share to the world. And the real change follows a pattern. There's a pattern. It's a process. It's a cycle. And this cycle is called innovation, development, education, administration. This is how change actually happens. So let's break this down. Innovation is how you think. This is where your change begins. It starts with up here. You see something differently. You become aware of what needs to happen. You get a spark or an inspiration. You become aware of life and what needs to happen in yours or in your business or in the team that you're leading, right? You recognize the problem of what is or what can be possible. That is called the spark in your life. Number two, development is how you grow. Right? Now you begin to build something. Now you have this innovation. So build it. You stretch. You face the resistance that change brings, right? You develop new behaviors and a capacity. This is the process. The developmental piece is where people die. We commit ourselves to the gym for an average of 2 weeks and then we're done. Because we don't have that process. We can't face the resistance. Oh, I'm sore. My muscles hurt. Oh, I'm tired of eating the celery, right? But the third thing in the process, this is why the process alone won't get you there, okay? That's because you got to go to number 3, which is education. And to understand education, you have to say how you learn. You have to find out how you learn. What's the best way that you learn? Now this is the time to refine yourself during the development, right? You have to gain understanding of where you're trying to go. You have to gain and learn from the experiences that you have from the resistance that's coming from you. What is this resistance teaching me in this moment? Learn. And then you apply the wisdom that you learned, right? Now you're aligning yourself with who you're becoming. And the last part is administration. That is how you sustain change. That structure. Now we've got to the structure piece. In this piece of administration and how you sustain, you build the system in your life. Okay. The system you create. I'm going to work out every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Okay. But in that, my system is the little things. I put this in here so that I can get this. Okay. I'm building my system, right? You're creating the discipline in your life. I won't go here. I'll go here instead. I will find something that's not just convenient, but it pushes me to reach where I'm trying to go to. I go here for a reason, right? Because it has everything that I need here to sustain what it is that I'm doing. and you manage what you've developed. So go back to developmental piece. You have to manage that stuff. And part of that management is learning. It is continual innovation. So understanding, being aware all the time, being cognizant, then develop that. Then you build that system around it. Then you learn from it. Now you sustain it because you're managing it. Okay. Regulating yourself. And honestly, this is where people miss. We try to jump from innovation and we skip development, education, and administration. You start skipping processes. Okay. They try to jump from innovation to the transformational part. We jump from innovation to the outcomes, right? You cannot skip that. You can't have the I and get the integrated piece of result. You have to go through development. You have to go through education, and then you have to build the structure. You cannot skip a process. Okay. Development is not actually the whole entire process. The idea cycle is. Okay. We do not want to sabotage our outcomes. Okay. Because when you sabotage the outcome, you get there because you skip the processes. You skip development. You skip innovation. You skip education, or you have one without the other, but you got to go through it in this pattern. Without it, it will die. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about the real issue. You are not stuck because you cannot change. You're stuck because you haven't been taught how change actually works. Okay. We think by putting a change initiative out there that we can work harder and press through to it, right? I thought that in order for me to throw further, I need to work out harder sometimes. That wasn't the case. Outworking other people by putting more weight on, by doing all these other things, right? I thought that, I needed to try harder. Trying harder, I threw less further. My distance took a back seat. Okay. Staying motivated. Oh, you need to stay motivated. You need to push through, son. But you have not been taught to build systems, develop your capacity, and apply a structure to your life. Okay. We've been taught trying harder, doing more work, but we haven't focused on the work is what I'm saying. When you take that energy that you would put in trying harder, that's not specific enough. Build the system, develop the capacity to learn more things, right? And then apply that structure into your life. And when you do that, you don't have to keep restarting. You can actually start progressing. So let's make a rule to this thing, right? Let's make a rule. If your change is not structured, it will not be sustained. If your change is not structured, if you have no structure to the change that you're trying to become, then it will not be sustained. And that's just the personal level. If your change initiative is not structured and well planned, it won't be sustained. Successful organizations have structure. Okay? Because in this, everything shifts. Real change is not proven by how you start. It's proven by what you can maintain. So practice this every week. Okay? Instead, ask your 4 questions. And they're predicated on the idea. What do I need to think differently about? What do I need to think differently about? That's going to unlock the innovation in your life. The second thing that you want to ask is, what do I need to grow through? That's going to unlock development in your life. Okay? And then the next thing is, what do I need to learn? It's my favorite part, right? What do I need to learn? That's going to unlock the educational aspect in your life. These are what I call the 4 pillars. The 4 pillars of change is innovation, development, education, right? The AE is educational pillar. What do I need to learn? Ask yourself that. The 4th thing is, what system do I need to build? What system do I need to build? What structure do I need to build, right? And then go and develop that, right? Administration that unlocks your management, your stewardship, okay? Write them down in a journal, because clarity creates structure. Remember Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision and make it plain, okay? Because that gives you clarity. And structure creates sustainability, y'all. So stop chasing change, because you're not going to understand it. Most people don't. I still don't. That's why I'm studying this stuff, right? Okay. Few people understand it, right? But now that you have a little bit more understanding, the real question is, will you follow the process? Or will you repeat the cycle? Will you follow the process, or will you repeat the patterns that you once had? Will you follow the idea cycle, or will you repeat the cycle that you have always repeated in your life? That's a question. All right. Thank you for listening. And remember, make real change, make change real. The process is beautiful. Empower your mentality to make real change in the world. This is Coach King. Peace out.